Hey everybody, T-Man again, bringing you guys another video, and this will be doing another MMA video, giving my preview and predictions of this Saturday morning's fight between Frankie Edgar versus Urijah Faber. Somewhere in the Philippines, this fight's going to be taking place, and here in the West Coast, it's going to start at 7 a.m. in the morning, 10 a.m. on the East Coast. Holy mackerel of hell, that is early, man. But first of all, I want to say I am very, very surprised that they will put a fight of this magnitude. In my opinion, this is a huge fight. This is a big fight. That they would put this fight, first of all, on a Fox Sports, but if they did so early in the morning and having an overseas fight, like they should have had like the Steve Miocic fight with Mark Hunt or some other lame. Well, that fight's not lame, but they've had other lame main events in the past. In the evening, I would put one of those fights overseas. But having Frankie Edgar and Urijah Faber, holy crap. This fight is a fight between two guys that you could say in this generation, in this decade, has dominated the lower classes, or the most popular of the lower class weight class divisions, especially Frankie Edgar. I'm a huge Frankie Edgar fan. And I've always liked Urijah Faber too. So this is between two fan favorites, two guys that have a whole lot of heart. But Frankie Edgar, man, this guy is the real life Rocky Balboa of wrestling, okay? Of MMA. I mean, this guy takes these hits and these beatings, and then he comes back. They either win the fight or win the decision or get screwed out of a decision. I mean, first of all, I went on record to say I think he won the two Benson Henderson fights. Okay, now if you want to argue that Benson Henderson won the first fight they had, I'll go ahead. That fight was close enough. I won't argue too much. I personally booked it for Edgar, but if you want to say Henderson won that fight, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with you guys giving it to Henderson. Then the second fight with Ben Henderson, there was no way Ben Henderson won that fight. Frankie Edgar clearly won that second fight, moved down, had an immediate title match with Jose Aldo. I definitely think he beat Jose Aldo, but again, man, he's Frankie Edgar. The judges don't work for Frankie Edgar, so didn't do that. Urijah Faber, on the other hand. Now, here's the thing about Urijah Faber. He was the poster boy. He was the face of the WEC, which focused on the lower weight classes, 145 pounds and below. But 155 pounds and below, and he fought at 145 pounds, and he was a 145 pound champion. The one thing that is good about him is he has that marketing, he has that that popularity. But if you really look at Urijah Faber, and I'm a fan, I'm not a hater of Urijah Faber, is the man has not won a big fight ever. Okay, back in the WEC days, in those early days where he was the champion, it wasn't that stacked. I mean, the most notable guy he beat was Genis Pulver, and Genis Pulver was way on his way out at that time. Then, he lost the title against Mike Brown, and Mike Brown turned out to be nothing. I mean, Aldo beat him, then a whole lot of people beat Mike Brown. Mike Brown's not even in the UFC anymore. I mean, he did a whole lot of nothing. And not to mention, he's had so many title fights in the UFC, which he's deserved. He's beaten all the top guys, but when it comes down to that title fight and beating those top guys, he can't quite get there. I mean, he lost the fight against Dominic Cruz. That was a really close fight. I would have probably called that fight a draw, but anyways, didn't quite win that one. Didn't beat what's his name? Not a Sunset. What's his name? Oh, shit. I forgot. The guy that's fighting TJ Dillashaw. Renan Barão. Did not beat Renan Barão 2 times. He does not quite. He gets there, and then he cannot quite win the big matches. So this fight against Frankie Edgar is really interesting. They're both really good wrestlers. The striking, I would say about the same. I would go slightly in the favor of Frankie Edgar, who has magnificent footwork, great jabs, great and everything else. Coming down to submissions, well, Frankie Edgar is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu back bout, but Urijah Faber has the best guillotine in MMA. I mean, his guillotine is second to none. So I think I lean towards Frankie Edgar in this fight. I think Frankie Edgar is going to grind out the win. He's going to use his footwork. I think he's going to slightly have a little bit more takedowns than Urijah Faber. I don't see Urijah Faber taking Frankie Edgar down too much. I think the only threat is maybe when Frankie Edgar shoots down for a takedown, he needs to watch his neck, because I do see Urijah Faber maybe sinking in the guillotine choke when he's ducking down for a takedown, as he's taking him down, grabbing the neck, stitching him back, and getting the tap. I see that happening too. But overall, I think Frankie Edgar has quite more of a big fight experience. I think he's second to none right now, and I think Edgar has a huge chip on his shoulder because he's technically the #1 contender against Aldo right now, and they're giving it to McGregor because McGregor has more hype. That fight hasn't happened. Edgar's already had his shot. And yeah, it should be very, very interesting, man. The featherweight division is very, very interesting, and having this kind of a dream match for a lot of MMA fans is really interesting. But I'm going Frankie Edgar in this fight all the way. I would be baffled if Urijah Faber. I don't see how Urijah Faber wins this match. Maybe a guillotine, but I don't see him knocking out Frankie Edgar unless Frankie Edgar's jaw just went to hell, because Frankie Edgar has took so many hits, so much punishment from so many guys over the years. I don't see that happening. But anyways, going on with it, I think Frankie Edgar gets the win over Urijah Faber. Anyways, speaking of more MMA, I will be doing my preview of the whole card of the next UFC pay-per-view, which is going to be the double title fight between Chris Weidman and Vitor Belfort and Anthony Johnson and Daniel Cormier. I will be shooting that video sometime next week, maybe Thursday, Friday, maybe after the weigh-ins, or somewhere along that time. Sometime mid next week before that pay-per-view, giving my review and all that on that card. And that card, I'm gonna be doing a review and predictions, and then I'll also be doing a review what I thought of a pay-per-view after it already took place. Excuse me. Anyways, that'll conclude this video. See you for the next one. Take care, guys.